Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talks Ambition, a special edition of Talks Ambition, where we are going to be talking about Team Ambition's performance so far in the NACL and what is to come. My name is Moose. I'm joined here today by Gordo, one of the best play-by-play casters in the scene right now, and Ray, the GM for TA, the head of development and overall coordinator for all things TA NACL. Gordo, how you doing today after the phenomenal performance that TA had this past weekend?
I'm doing well, Moose. It was a great thing to be a part of, to get to watch TA finally make it through those. We've had a couple of heartbreaking game fives the last couple of splits, so really glad that we got to qualify before we even got to that game five, and had a great game five while we were at it too. So was a bunch of fun, and glad I got to see it.
Yeah, Ray. Again, we talked a little bit on Sunday after you guys qualified, and we've been chatting kind of back and forth the last couple of days. But I mean, it's still got to feel good that you guys were able to qualify and move into the top 16.
Yeah, it felt really really good. That even though last spring split we qualified, we started 1-1 and the second day was dicey. This split, like we said in the first day of the interview, starting 2-0 takes so much pressure off because it means you just have to win one more. Obviously, even though we had one loss, that game was a really close one, and then we were just able to qualify nice and easy, stress free, and we could perform well enough. So it felt really great.
Yeah, I mean, you guys performed just overall well last weekend. Yeah, just recap for you guys if you guys aren't aware, TA did go 4-1 in that 5-game series to qualify into the top 16, go into the group stage. They won their first two games in day one, and then day two, they were really close to beating Horizon Gaming in game three, but then one out in their last two games. They end up going 4-1. They end up sixth seed out of these qualifiers, and in the group stage, moving into the top 16, sixth seed is definitely a good position to be in. We've got a lot to talk about, not only about their performance in the qualifiers that were just out, but also we got to talk about the group stage and a couple of special announcements that Ray has for us. He's not given us any information yet, so we're gonna find out, and you're gonna get our honest, candid reactions for what's up. So it's gonna be a fun time. A couple of announcements before we get started, though. Be sure to check out Team Ambition on their Twitch channel and on their YouTube channel to stay up to date on all of the contents uh, for uh, for TA and all of that fun stuff. And just again, thank you guys for joining us. Other than that, let's get into it. So, Gordo, I want to ask you really quickly because you've been casting TA in these qualifiers for a while. You've worked with Ray previously in the past. What do you think was different? I guess Ray and Gordo, you guys can ask this question. What do you think was different this split and this qualifier that I mean kind of elevated us?
Uh, I'll start off with like obviously it's like a whole new roster, right? They built up. A lot of the pieces have changed here. The only one returning is Sarcasm, but I will call out. I think Sarcasm looked excellent in this last qualifier. And I think it was a little shakier the last time we got to make a run with him, and I feel like he really stepped up this time around. And in particular, in that last game, I think it was Ray in our post match interview, you called out to me that he hadn't played Poppy in like a year, and he has some clutch Poppy ultimates in that game to really be able to secure it. And like knocking TC Porsche's Mega Fed Cassante away from the Dragon Soul is like really what kind of locks it down for you guys. And yeah, he just had a great performance on the whole weekend.
Asante looks balanced, by the way.
Oh my god.
Shut up. Shut
um,
up.
yeah. So after I got done with the interview, I went back to them, and he gave me another tidbit. He not only hadn't played Poppy in a while, but like we said, Cassante is a new champion. He didn't know some of the interactions. We actually lost one fight. He pointed it out because he didn't know that Cassante went unstoppable. So
No.
he did knock Cassante out one time when he had him. He was like, "I got you," and then he's like, "Oh no, didn't move." So he said like even more so, like he's thankful that the performance went as well as it did.
Oh my god. That Cassante was literally a menace the entire game. It was okay in the early game, and Poppy kind of went up there and tried to fix, try to not make it a problem. And the game was looking really good in the early game, and then I just remember watching this Cassante not die multiple times and get out of sticky situations. I think at one point he was able to win a 2v1. And like at that point it was like, how the fuck are we gonna get rid of this menace? And it was some of those clutch moments, like you said, finding a way to get him out of the fights that ended up giving TA, I think, the win in that game in particular. But I mean, yeah, Cassante balanced champion, 17 dashes, invulnerability, unstoppable. I mean, what he needs to be buffed. Like he needs to be buffed.
Clearly.
It's balanced because he doesn't do damage. Oh wait.
Right.
Right.
Right, Gordo. Right. So Cassante aside, I wanna get back to I wanna talk about the Horizon Gaming game. Game 3 of that or game 1 on day 2. It was a very back and forth battle. And Horizon Gaming is one of those higher seeded teams that like people expected to do well. There were a couple of teams that I think surprised us throughout the week, and Horizon Gaming really, showing that they were fourth seed there. Very close game that was that unfortunately didn't go into TA's favor. Um how did like it seemed like in the interview that we were talking about, Ray, like it was very calm and cool and collected in the chat um after that game, and you guys were kind of, I guess, still satisfied with your performance.
Yeah, so going into that game, I'll be honest, and this is like maybe kind of gonna come off as trash talk, but we didn't think much of them.
Oh,
Um, it's just the
fair enough.
confidence. It's just the confidence that the boys have. We didn't think much of them. And I wasn't there for the comps to begin with, but I did get there right after the game ended, and I got to hear them talking, and they were like, "This was a draft we haven't done much before. We've been playing to a certain style, and it definitely felt uncomfortable. We kept it close, but they were like, it is what it is. We'll just go back to the same formula that's been working and go from there." So spirits roll up. Everyone kind of accepted it, especially the way we lost it. Elder with a Corky package. Corky package stole it. Like, how can you be mad? It's literally just like the dot that like takes like 200, 300 health per tick. Like, uh, the smite is hard to time to begin with in the middle of a 5v5. So, um, no hard feelings for everyone. Everyone felt great afterward, and obviously we showed it coming up and winning the next two games.
Yeah. I think there was a Varus arrow on top of Yunbi's package as well, like going in with that dragon. So there's a lot of stuff going on at the same time. And it really does come down to like Yunbi's package stealing the Elder Dragon, as Ray was saying. So yeah, but I mean I agree too though. I think Horizon looked like really good. I wouldn't have picked them to beat TA initially. DMK is fresh off the roll swap. Yumbi's been gone for a while. King Nidhogg is still pretty new. Sappy Mask was like brand new. But yeah, no, they showed up and looked really good. They played TA to a close game, and it really did come down just to that very last moment.
Yep, and like I said, we didn't think much of them, but clearly they know what they're doing, right? So we're not going to take them lightly if we play them again another time soon. But it's just the way it was.
Yeah. I mean, after that though, after Horizon did beat them, beat TA, they ended up going up against Maryville in their game 4, and they ended up losing that one. I think pretty. I don't want to say handedly, but it was definitely a Maryville win. Um, do you guys like? If you guys had won, like in a what if scenario, you guys go up against Maryville, do you guys think that you take that win handedly, or do you still think that the 4-1 is the expectation?
Um, Given that it would be Maryville, we thought like as a team when we had our team meetings, we thought Maryville was the number one team to begin with. And so realistically, going into that 3-0 game, we're going into it for our minds as underdogs, but still with the belief that we could take the game. So I think if it is Maryville for that spot there, I think it would have still been a 4-1. Um, just the way we were feeling going into the pre-tournament. That's why we were thinking 4-1. because we had scrimmed them a couple times where we were like, this is good. This is the only team we feel like this 50-50, maybe 60-40 their way. Every other team, we're confident that we could take games off of them, especially in a best of one scenario.
Yeah, I was shocked when I saw the seeding for NA for the qualifiers and saw that Maryville was not. I don't think they were even in the top 3 teams.
They were
Uh,
fifth. They were
they were
fifth.
5th seed. Like first seed being Team Fish Taco. Team Fish Taco ends up losing to CB Gaming of all teams. I mean, CB Gaming is kind of like this underdog team that I I didn't like I thought that they were going to do well, but I did not expect that they were going to beat the open qualifiers first seed team, and they end up, you know, not even going 4-1. They end up going what 3-2
Three and two.
at the end of it. Yeah, like it just was a little weird. Like it was just kind of very strange, kind of the seeding and the way that it worked out. But I still think that TA, like just in general, like 6th seed I think is a little bit of a in the group stage at least. I still think that 6th seed is a bit of a understatement. I think they're underestimating the power of TA's roster as a whole, putting them down at the like least powerful 401 team. I don't know. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
It's
Well,
just
yeah,
the strength of schedule isn't taken into account at all, which is the
yeah,
unfortunate part.
that's
It's just
exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah, they don't reseed after the first Swiss rounds, right? So it's just in CB Gaming's case, that's like maybe the worst offender, right? Because they're still like the 16th seed coming out because of where their seed was initially, even
they're
though they
14th, yeah, but
yeah,
yeah, still really
something
low.
like that. They're like down by the bottom, even though they took down one of the best teams in the tournament because they were seeded so low to begin with.
And Native Gaming not being second seed, even though they're the ones that made it to the 4-1 tournament. TFT is still the top dog. So, some of the seeding stuff is a little wonky, but we can only beat what's in front of us, right? So no matter what they seed, if the goal is to win the whole thing, at the end of the day, where they placed us doesn't matter.
That's fair. I mean, I think that that's a good mindset, and I think that that's something I actually really like that mindset, Ray, because it it goes to show I think TA's mentality going into this tournament. It's like it really doesn't matter what seed you are. It doesn't really matter who you play against. The goal is to win the whole thing, so it shouldn't matter who you play because you're gonna have to beat them eventually.
Yeah.
I guess it was just kind of interesting, kind of a like a weird kind of tidbit there, and I that kind of makes sense, Gordo. You were talking about how the seating does play out, but with that being said, we move into Group C on Sunday. It's going to be Native Gaming, who lost to Maryville but beat CB. Team Ambition, Winthrop, who we beat in day one, and then CB Gaming, who beat Team Fish Taco, but weren't able to defeat, weren't able to go in to day two after that first win with any positive results. They end up going 3-2 after beating TFT and then lose to Native, and then they lose to Horizon. So do you think CB is like I feel like CB Gaming is a bit of uh, like a dark horse? Are they a dark horse or are they, wolves in sheep clothing? Like what's your thoughts on them?
Um, I know some of the players, right? Like we talked about CB Gaming as two former TA players,
Yeah.
and we've actually had the pleasure of scrimming them a couple times now. And so from our perspective, at the very least, is that they're not an unknown quantity to us, at least. I very well think that they could be an upsetting factor for this group. In fact, I would tout them as maybe one of the 3 teams that I think could go out of the group. Um, Spoiler: the one that I don't think will has a chance to make it out is Winthrop because they still won't have mobility back. I don't think, um, and that will be rough. He might be back for the second week, but I don't think he's back for this weekend.
It depends what the rule is with because what do they no because they're the same day as Academy because I know they're supposed to get King and Ryoma back this week, right? So I would
Okay.
think
Maybe he's
mobility.
back.
Yeah, I don't think a mobility's playing Academy this weekend, but I don't know what the rule is for when he can come back.
If he's back, then it can be a toss up for who can make it out. I would think. But I do think we have CB Gaming's number out of the few times we've played them.
And I mean, with that being said, then like now you look at Native Gaming and with Winthrop, I guess that is kind of a little bit of a wild card there, is whether or not they do have those key players in for Winthrop. And Native Gaming is also a good team, and definitely, like you were talking about, a lot of respect for the players that are involved there. Is there anyone in particular that you're excited to like face off against? Like, of course you want to face off against a TA alum, but are there any other players that you're excited to see or watch as we move into Sunday's games?
Um, well, I guess a little history with everything is that Taki, who's the coach for Native Gaming, was a coach under me for a long time when I first owned an org, and then him and I went into coaching together once we spread out past that org. And so I have a little group chat with him, and we were trash talking all the way leading up to the games this weekend. So we were wanting to play versus each other. It's just that it wasn't to be. So I look forward to just playing Native just because of the contacts that I have with their staff. Collimer, Taki are both friends that I talk to. And then Winthrop and CB both have former TA players in mobility plays. Mobility was in an off-season roster with TA. I don't think we ended up playing a tournament with him, so I don't think it's going to be on his CV. But he was scrimming with us for, I think, a little bit close to like 2 months leading up to the summer OQs. But the way things ended up working out, he didn't stick around.
So, I'm curious just because you mentioned native gaming. I think from the outside looking in, between the struggle of being one of the groups that has to have two 4-1 teams in it, and CB Gaming looking to have that upset potential, I kind of see this as the strongest of the four groups. I'm curious if you think of it that way at all, or if that's just something you're not even really contemplating, given that it's the one you're stuck with.
Let me look through, and yeah, I would say in terms of quality, just because Winthrop didn't have their main roster for the most part.
Mhm.
CB Gaming is coming in as a strong candidate, beating TFT and everything. Yeah, I would say this would be the group of death if there was one. Um, yeah, I would say this would be the group of death.
The group of death. I love it. I love it. When we come back and we talk about the performance in a couple of in a week or two, when we pot again, we'll see how much of a Grim Reaper TA is. I'm expecting very good news. Though after everything that we've discussed. But Ray, I wanna know like what type of trash talk are we talking about here? Can you give us a little hint, like a little taste of some of the trash talk you've been dishing out? Is it
Um,
available for public knowledge?
um, I will just say that Native is confident in their top laner, and we are confident in our top laner. And the trash talk it began when they beat us in a scrim set, but they fail to acknowledge the fact that Shockey was top gapped every single game in that scrim set. That's all I'm going to say. That they believe Shockey is the best top player in amateur, and we saw what Niles did to him, and we saw what Niles has been doing when he went to academy. So I think there's levels to everything, and I think they have the wrong read. So we'll leave it at that.
I'll just
Okay.
corroborate that I hear a lot of hype for Shockey. I have not seen much
He's
Shockey
good.
footage, but I hear a lot of hype for Shockey.
He's good. Not the best top amateur.
Okay. I like it.
He's
It's
young too, though, right? He has time to he could grow
Yes.
into it.
Yeah. He
very
definitely found a good home. He definitely found a good home in Native to bring him up with Fnatic up there, but the praise is a little high.
praise is a little high. I'm trying to come up with a witty retort or a witty follow-up, but we'll just let Cozy do the talking, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel it. I feel it. Um with that being said, definitely check out Team Ambition's performance on Sunday. I believe that's 3 EST is when their first game is at. Correct me
Yep.
if I'm wrong. Nope,
Mhm.
yep, 3 EST. I I I just wish things were done in PST so I didn't have to do math in my head, but
I
we'll
do that
just
too.
go yeah, we'll just go from there. You're in California, right, Ray? Or am I
Mm,
incorrect?
I am in Indiana, in the middle of nowhere.
Let's
So
Oh
go.
my god. Oh my god. I got two Midwesterners on this pod with me. Oh man. We got the Chicagoing. Gordo, what do we call somebody from Chicago? Are you a Chicagoite?
Chicagoan.
A Chicagoan. A Chicagoan. And Ray, what do we call you? Just Ray?
I so I grew up as a cheesehead. I grew up in Wisconsin. So
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right. I've never been to Chicago or Wisconsin, so I'll leave my analysis of the two states at that. Um, come to Vegas though. It's fun. It's fun and hot, and you can
Cool.
enjoy our wonderful water supply.
I'm gonna type FTP into the chat and just wait for Ray's reaction.
Gordo, stop it. You're gonna make Ray blush.
Mm,
Okay. With that out of the way, Ray, I heard you have some announcements though about
Um,
TA. I don't know what you can disclose given the situation, but if you have any information that you want to share with us, I was told that you have it.
right. So I have I guess two pieces of we have the good, the bad, and then a neutral news to everyone. Right. So I will just rip the band-aid off and say Aaron, who was one of our best performing players in NACL qualifiers, is moving up. By the time this podcast come out, it'll be announced. He might even be playing by the time you're watching this. But he is moving to CLG Faith. We will also have an announcement for it on Friday. When they announce it, we're going to coordinate with them. Um, but he carried our game five. I'll just say that he was the one of the best performing players. And if you guys remember from our first interview when I talked about the team, he was the first player I contacted to make this team. So very bittersweet to lose him. Um, and it's always going to be hard to replace a player of that caliber. There's no sugarcoating it, right? So the neutral news coming into it is that we did find a replacement we were satisfied with. Talking with Pluto, he said, "I am very pleasantly surprised from their laning phase. They're ready to go. There's no way we can say we're happy that we've replaced our top player. That's never going to be true, right? It's hard for you'd be lying. What I can say is that we're confident that this player can help us continue the performances that we've had and continue the expectations that we've set for the team, which was always to make playoffs top four for this one, for this open qualifier. As much as we would want to win, that is the penultimate goal, but at least making top four is a demand for us, and we think we can accomplish it. So with that, um, Zev from Omega Gaming is gonna be the AD carry for us. I believe he got a pentakill in the open qualifier for their last game. Um, and he comes to us from that team where they were generally playing for him a lot of the time. So he fits the mold of he's slotting into that spot where he can play the same champions Aaron can. We're not skipping a beat for that most part. Some of the gameplay might be a little different. Our communication has to improve a little bit, but we have a full week to scrim with him. We scrimmed with him yesterday, and we got a full week of schedule leading up to the tournament. So we will be ready. And,
Wow.
mhm. And then for the last piece of good news, which thankfully this comes out again, I think Saturday or Friday, right? So the
Yeah.
player should be announced as well. Mgudis Matthew, who is currently the sub for Fly Fam, is going to be playing this weekend. You guys might not know, or you didn't even know that he might have been a sub, but he is my former player. I brought him from solo queue, and I was coaching him all of end of last year in one of Team Ambition's development rosters. So when he told me, "Hey, I'm a sub," I was like, "Let's go." TA moved a player like he is our own creation. No one has had him before us. It was me coaching him. and he's moved up, and he will be playing this weekend. And it's an incredibly proud moment for me because from day one of me being a coach, being a development coach, my dream was to get a player from us to academy, nothing in between. So no one can say they developed him above me. He went straight from Team Ambition Red to now Fly Fam, and will be playing in this weekend's games.
Wow. That's a big one. So changes then coming in right from Team Ambition to both to two different provisional teams in the NACL. Um yeah, just want to give a shout out to Aaron then. I think he was a great player over this past weekend. Had a fantastic showing. As Ray said, definitely agree. He was huge in the final game there. Um, and I know CLG Faith has been talking about they want to move. Do you know, Ray? Are they moving Sketch to support again? I know they were talking about wanting to do that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, very
They they
interesting.
they tried keeping Sketch there, but ultimately they wanted to bring a different AD, and because they knew Aaron before, and he's obviously been a great performer in the qualifiers, I think it was a no-brainer to bring him up.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, congratulations to you, Ray, and congratulations to, of course, to Team Ambition. It is always a big thing when an when an amateur organization. I mean, at this point, I don't even think you can call Team Ambition an amateur org anymore. Like they're semi-professional, if not professional organization at this point. Uh, who are able to not only provide growth and stability for the amateur team, but also promote and develop and see them blossom into the next step of their journey. So a big step, a big moment, I think, for Team Ambition to continue to keep their status as a top tier, if not the top tier organization within our level. And for you as well, Ray, like you've been talking about your goals and your dreams of and your vision of the future for you. And it's a big moment, I think, just in general for everyone that's involved. So kudos to you. Big props as well.
Thank you. I'm a proud father. He messaged me to this. He messaged me this morning with like cryptic messages. He was like, "Hey, have you heard the news?" Because I guess other people were leaking it to others. I guess he said he found out through someone not even related to his team. Someone from the grapevine. It was a process that like trickled down to him, and he was like, "I just found the news," and I was like, "What'd you find out?" And he was like, I put pieced it together because he's like, "I'm not allowed to say," obviously NDA. And he says, and so he didn't say anything. He didn't tell me. I just said, "You're playing this weekend." Then I was like, "What else would you be excited for?" Um, and then he just sent a bunch of emojis, and then I said, "That's awesome." So hopefully it's confirmed. Otherwise, I look like an idiot. Um, but by the time this
My
comes out,
God.
but yeah, it's real exciting for me.
Ray, you can never look like an idiot. You might look stupid, but not an idiot. You're too smart for that.
What
You're
what is that even? All right, but the yeah, I mean that's huge change for Fly Fam as well. After having seen they've been struggling similarly to CLG Faith here. You have a call, Ray, that I don't think they play each other this week, but if the Fly Fam and CLG Faith rosters have to play a match sometime in the near future, who are you picking?
Home. I mean, so I told Aaron that if he's leaving us and he doesn't perform, um, we're taking his spot in 2 months. That's what I told him. So I have full expectations for him to be up there. But Mgudis, Matthew, um, honestly, I just hope that his performances grow because he wasn't on a top level amateur team being promoted from this to there. This is his first team of like actual high competitive. I think he played in UPL for me, if I do remember correctly. So the level of competition is much higher. Whereas Aaron has been playing within the space for a bit. and so I have higher expectations for him. So Matthew, I just hope that he accommodates well and that he can help Fly Fam turn around their results. Obviously, I think they're 1-9 right now. They're struggling just as CLG Faith. But the expectation will be that if Aaron left us for them, it's to change their season around, right?
Right.
So it's different expectations for them. Also, I got too excited when I was looking through the schedule because I saw Fly versus CLG Faith, and I didn't see that it was Fly Challengers, not uh, Fly Fam. But it would
Aw.
but it was supposed to be this weekend, Fly Fam versus CLG, but it wasn't written in there yet. But if they play each other, I would say, um, I mean, I have to go with Aaron for now. If you tell me next season and Matthew's developed and has a few games in him, we might go Matthew. As a former jungler, to my first player moving up directly from me being a jungler, really good.
I uh I appreciate and I respect the analysis there and the prediction, Ray, because like you said, like it does make sense for a player who is making a larger jump for there to be a little bit of a like a refractory period or like an assimilation period for them to be able to get situated and ready to go. And I think that it just makes sense. And so you do have to practice a little bit of patience there. I think to see the full development of that be in shape. But overall, again, it's a big step for both of them, and I wish best of luck to Lagunes and to Aaron.
I do as well. I just checked. Fly Fam and CLG Faith played each other week 1, so they'll have to meet in playoffs.
Man,
This best of
Well,
one format, man. But I guess it's still 30 games, even though you only match up once. Even though I guess it's single round robin, not best of one.
yeah.
yeah, Gordo, get it right.
It
I'm
was
kidding.
1-1. They're dead even. So
Fair enough. Well, with that being said, I told everyone when I tried to make this impromptu pod come together, I wanted to really talk about TA's performance in NACL, and then we got a bunch of these cool announcements from Ray. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to get our reactions for it. That I would respect everyone's time, and this would be a shorter podcast. So I think that this is going to be about it. Gordo, I know you've got the Salt Mines airing later this week.
yeah, tomorrow morning. So yesterday, if you're watching this podcast, Thursday
Nice.
mornings. I
Yes.
really got to just start saying Thursday mornings. I keep forgetting that these don't go up right away.
Yes. And then Ray, you're gonna be, hanging out in TA for the foreseeable future, and we'll see you on Sunday for TA's group stage performance. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yep. Great coming on again. I'm now a regular podcaster.
That's
Two out
right.
of the three. Two out of the three.
You are.
So,
You'll get your button
um,
in the mail.
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
But I appreciate coming on. I appreciate all the questions and everything. It sucks that we can't have our own individual stream this weekend because the players finally got approved to be able to be on streams on the weekend, but they can't be streamed. So it is what it is. But I'm sure you guys will be catching the players. Hopefully, we'll do some offline interviews for them after their performances. And TA this weekend 2-0 is the expectation.
2-0 TA, let's go onwards and upwards. But with that being said, special thanks as always to Gordo and Ray for coming out and taking time out of their day to pod with me. You can catch us all on Twitter. You can catch us all here at the TA Discord. We're hanging out and doing all that fun stuff. This would not be possible without our producer Emma, who's always there behind the scenes, making things look pretty, eating Girl Scout cookies, and just overall just being phenomenal. And thank you as well to you guys, the viewers, for continuing to support us as we talk about Team Ambition and continue to develop this podcast as well. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you guys all next time. Take care.